Hello and welcome to another coaching session from LeadershipMentor.com. Today I'd like to share some thoughts with you about how failures actually lead to success. So let's talk about failures as a leader. A leader's ability to learn and grow from failures will actually determine his or her overall level of success. And this is really the key point that I want to get across today. It's so important that we look at our failures as opportunities to learn and to grow. And it's how we react to these failures that we make on a regular basis that it's going to determine, again, how successful we are, not just in leadership but in life. I just finished a book called Failing Forward by John Maxwell, and I want to recommend that as something that our community members want to take a look at this book. It's a great book that goes into great detail about really how we should be looking at our failures and how we should approach them in a step-by-step process about how we should learn from them as well. So does everybody fail? Well, we all make errors in judgment, and that's in any level of leadership and really in any area. That's in relationships and almost anything you can think of. And so you're not alone when you make mistakes. Oftentimes we feel that way, that we made a mistake and it was a dumb thing to do and nobody else would have done that. But in fact, most people have probably made the same mistake you have early in their leadership career. And we all allow our emotions to take over our common sense, and this is something we talk a lot about. Certainly as a new leader, this is really where we're most vulnerable. That is where we draw off of our anger or our emotions, and we begin to coach or reprimand somebody rather than allowing some time to pass. And we talk about that in our coaching, how to coach and provide feedback, is we never want to approach a conversation with a team member when we are emotional. And we all think we know what's best. Again, we don't have a lot of experience to draw upon as a new leader, and so we make decisions based on really limited experience. And so we think we know what's best, we make a decision, and then that outcome will determine whether it was or it wasn't. And when it's not, then we learn from that. So how can we grow through our failures as a leader? Well, first of all, we have to accept that we all fail from time to time. That's at every level of the organization that you work in. Everybody makes mistakes. They're not always apparent to people, but everybody makes mistakes from time to time, and so you're not alone. True failure is actually making the same mistake over and over again. And I wanted to put this in this coaching session because this is so important, that it's when a new leader continues to make the same mistakes over and over is when you really fail. That's where your career's in jeopardy, and you're really just not going to be successful as a leader. And so you make the mistake and you learn from that mistake and you move on. But actual failure comes from making that same mistake over and over again. You also have to admit that you made an error. So first we accept that we fail from time to time. Then we have to admit that we made an error, whether that's just simply admitting it to yourself or admitting it to others that your decision may have affected. That's so important. That's really the first step that we have to go through, is simply to admit that there was an error made. And then determine how to correct that error and the best decision or action to take next time. So we're simply learning from that failure or that mistake, and we first want to move to, rather than dwelling on our decision, how can I fix this? How can I make this right? And then how can I avoid this type of situation next time? And that's really the process that we go through as leaders. So we accept the fact that we're going to fail from time to time. We admit to ourselves and others that we made a mistake. And then we have to move into how do we determine to correct the action and the best decision for next time. So remember, failure is really just a process of learning. That's how we're going to learn as leaders, unfortunately, is oftentimes we have to scrape our knee and get up, and we brush it off and we move forward. So failure is just simply a process of learning, and so I want you to think of failure as a process of learning. And we want to minimize our failures by learning from others and ourselves. So we talked about how important it is to learn from our mistakes. So we evaluate what we did, we see the outcome of that decision or that action, and then we learn from that to make a better decision next time. But we also want to leverage other people, through coaching, through peers that may have been through that. So if you're making a tough decision, take an opportunity to start asking maybe some people around you, some peers, your boss, somebody, maybe what they think would be the best course of action. So we don't have to always trip on our own. We can learn from other people and really minimize our failures and our mistakes as leaders. So that's it for today on talking about how to learn from our failures as leaders. I hope you have a great day.